Hello students, welcome to this class on the last verb tense in our series of 12. Today we're going to talk about the future perfect continuous. Okay, so as I've mentioned in other videos, the name continuous is often referred to as progressive. So both names are the same tense, the future perfect continuous and the future perfect progressive. Again, whenever we see the word continuous in a verb tense, we know that the main verb will have the three letters ing on the end. Okay, let's look at when we use this tense briefly. Okay, so it says it's used to describe an action that has been ongoing for a period of time up to a specific point in the future. Now, that action could have started already, or maybe it's not going to start until a later time, but we're talking about a time in the future when the action will be completed. So let's look at a quick example. All right, so this says, by the end of next year, I will have been teaching for 25 years. Well, I'm already doing this action because next year, if it's about myself, will be 25 years. So this action is already in progress. And at a certain point in the future, which is the end of next year, then I will reach 25 years. Okay, let's look at another quick example. This one says, I wrote it in just to show you a little different type of use with this tense. By the time I arrive at your house tomorrow, I will have been driving for 6 hours, so I will probably be hungry. Now, in this sentence, it states that I will arrive at your house tomorrow, and the driving time is 6 hours. So this action has not started yet, but it is going to start in the future. And it will stop, obviously, when I arrive at the house, and the duration indicates 6 hours. Okay, let's go ahead now and look at how to form this, and then we'll look at some more examples. Okay, so we form this tense, the future perfect continuous, with the word will, have, been, and then the present participle, or the main verb with ing on the end. So let's go ahead and conjugate the verb to work in the future perfect continuous affirmative. And that will be, I will have been working, you will have been working, we will have been working, they will have been working, he will have been working, she will have been working, it will have been working. All of them are the same. So that part is pretty easy. Now, let's turn the page and do affirmative sentences, but this time with some contractions. So what we are contracting is the subject pronoun and the word will, or the first two words. So I will have been working, in a contraction will be I'll have been working. You will have been working will be you'll have been working. We will have been working will be will have been working. And they will have been working, in a contraction will be they'll have been working. Again, don't forget your apostrophe with contractions. So just to pronounce these contractions one more time, I'll, you'll, will, they'll. And let's do the rest. He will have been working. In a contraction will be he'll have been working. She will have been working will be she'll have been working. It will have been working. In a contraction will be it'll have been working. So again, pronunciation here, he'll, she'll, it'll. And with these two, I just want to point out that your apostrophe is very important, because if you leave it off of he'll, the word becomes hell. And if you leave it out of the word she'll, the word would be shell. So you'll have a different word. Okay, now let's go to negative sentences and with contractions at the same time. So once again, just like the other tenses, we have to insert the word not to make it negative. And here, again, we will put it between will and have, and then we'll contract it. So, negative, I will not have been working. And then we can contract the words will not and make that won't. I will not have been working as a contraction would be I won't have been working. You will not have been working becomes you won't have been working. We will not have been working becomes we won't have been working. They will not have been working becomes they won't have been working. And now for the rest of them. He will not have been working as a contraction becomes he won't have been working. She will not have been working becomes she won't have been working. It will not have been working becomes it won't have been working. And again, just a reminder that contractions are best used in speaking, not writing. Okay, so if we're going to write some yes/no questions, just like the other tenses, that's not difficult. We just reverse the subject pronoun and the word will, or the first two words. So I will have been working as a yes/no question would be, will I have been working? Will you have been working? Will we have been working? Will they have been working? Will he have been working? Will she have been working? Will it have been working? Now, sometimes we need more information. So to form an information question, again, we just take that yes/no question and add the information question word before it. And again, those WH questions are who, what, when, where, why, how long, how much. So for this, I chose how long. So we could say, how long will I have been working? How long will you have been working? So in real life, a real life example, maybe you have a job and you're talking to a coworker and you ask that coworker something like, by next year, how long will you have been working here at that point in the future? Okay, how long will we have been working? How long will they have been working? How long will he have been working? How long will she have been working? And how long will it have been working? All right, so the next question is, when again do we use this tense? So let's look at that again. So we use it when we describe an action that is currently unfinished, but will be finished at some point, or at some future time. But again, just keep in mind that that action may have already begun, or you know that it is going to begin in the future. With this tense, it emphasizes the duration of an action that will be in progress up to a specific point in the future. So again, with this tense, often we will tell how long that action that we are talking about will be going on at that point in the future. Okay, it is often used with a time expression. All right, so some words, also known as time markers, are commonly used with the future perfect continuous. So with these type of sentences, you might see by the time or when or before in many of the sentences. So let's look at a few examples. All right, by the time I take my math exam, I will have been studying for 10 hours. So here's the formation, will have been studying. Now the specific point in time is when I take that math exam. Of course, it doesn't say it in the sentence, but it is at a future date. And then it says, at that point, when I take my math exam, I will have completed 10 hours of studying. Now, probably with this sentence, I haven't begun my studying yet. But let's suppose that the test is on Monday, and we'll say today is, Thursday. But I know I have decided that on Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to study for 5 hours for each day. So I know that I will reach 10 hours of studying. So with this one, we'll say that the action hasn't begun yet. But again, maybe it has on another hand. So if my exam is tomorrow and I've been studying for 7 hours, yes, I could say by the time I take my math exam, I will have been studying for 10 hours. It's really unclear in this sentence. We don't know if this person has already begun studying or will begin in the future. But we just know that this action of studying will take place in the future. And when it gets to the time of the math exam, that's when my studying will stop and I will have been doing this action for 10 hours. Okay, and here's another one. When you get home tonight, the baby will have been sleeping for 2 hours already. So let's suppose you're talking to someone who says, I'm coming home at 10 o'clock tonight and I want to hold the baby. But you say, well, when you get home tonight, the baby will have been sleeping for 2 hours already. So maybe the baby has not started sleeping yet, but you know that in the future tonight at 8 o'clock, the baby will start sleeping. And at that point in the future, when this person gets home, the baby will have been sleeping for 2 hours at that specific point in the future. All right, let's look at a couple more. My employee will have been working for my company for 6 years by 2026. So 2026 is next year. So this employee next year will have been working for me for 6 years. So this is already taking place. It's already happening. Will have been working. But at this point, this specific point in the future, July 2026, this person will have been with the company for 6 years. Okay, let's look at another one. This one's a question. All right. Will she have been living in Vermont for a year by January? Maybe this has something to do, I don't know, with property taxes or something like that, or getting a discount on something if you're a resident of Vermont. So the question, it's a yes/no question. Will she have been living? Okay, and the specific point in the future is January. So this is simply a yes/no question. And you can answer it yes, she will, or no, she won't. Okay. All right, let's look at another one. All right, Victoria will have been cooking for over 3 hours by the time the guests arrive tonight. So, again, we're not 100% sure if Victoria's cooking yet. It just depends what time this sentence is spoken. But here's the formation: will have been cooking. All right, the specific time in the future that we are talking about is by the time, there's that time marker, when the guests arrive. So at that time, this action of cooking will have been in progress for 3 hours. Now, if you're saying this at 8 o'clock in the morning and the cooking hasn't begun, then it will start in the future. But maybe you're talking, maybe it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and the guests are coming at 6, and you could still say this: Victoria will have been cooking for over 3 hours by the time the guests arrive tonight. Okay, and then the last one: by 9 p.m., she will have been watching the movie for an hour. This could be talking about tonight, could be talking about tomorrow. So, I mean, a real life situation, maybe you might say, you know, I would like to watch that movie with her. But, you know, by 9 p.m., I get home at 9 p.m., she will have been watching the movie for an hour. So I will miss a lot of the movie. So the form will have been watching. The specific time in the future, there's our time marker, by at 9 p.m. And the duration, she will have been watching the movie for an hour. So I will say this about this tense. It's not one that you're going to use too often, but there will be a need for it. And it has its purpose. So try to get comfortable with it, and practice with it. And as always, if you are interested, this book was created to help you understand and really put into practice these 12 verb tenses that you've learned. You can purchase a copy of it on Amazon, or you can speak to me if you need help ordering one. So that is all for now, and good luck with your English.